Is the Yieldmax MSTY price actually eroding away and we're headed to zero? Let's take a look at a couple charts just to see where it's actually headed and what we've actually earned back. Hello my friends, this is Legend. So today I want to take a look at MSTY, and I want to actually look at the full run of the chart on MSTY, the price action, and I want to talk a little bit about this NAV erosion and some of the talk about the MSTY price eroding away and headed to zero. Now keep in mind, this is not financial advice and this is just my opinion. And I'm only going to show what is shown in the charts, but the future of MSTY is still yet to come. So nobody knows what the future holds. So let's just slide right over to the Morningstar chart and let's take a look at MSTY. Okay, so here we are on the Morningstar chart and we're looking at MSTY, MSTY. And as you can see, we've had quite the ups and downs with MSTY, right? And this is showing just the price. As you can see, that original opening price of MSTY right here being at $20.38. We hit a few peaks here, but this here, I believe, is actually the highest that it's ever been, was at $46.50. But just looking at the chart here, I mean, you're looking at it and it is crazy, right? I mean, some super highs, some super lows. But overall, if we came out and we opened at $20.38 and now we're at $20.59, well, we're really kind of right back where we started. And you can look at this and you can say, well, that's not good, because if you've been in it since February the 22nd, and that is the day of the first of the charts here, and you're looking at that and thinking, so I've made 20 cents on all of my shares. And if it was just in the price, then that would be correct. If you did not purchase any other shares and you made your first purchase on that first day, right now you would be up 20 cents per share. So not too great, right? But as we know, MSTY is not really our price appreciation play. Now it does have some price appreciation, right? Because it did hit as high as that $46.50. But currently being at $20.59, you would only be up that 20 cents. But what is different about MSTY? Is it just the price? Are we in it just for that price movement? No, not even close, right? Because really for MSTY, sure, I'd love for it to go up, but if it stays flat, that's fine as well. Because what I'm in for MSTY for is the distributions, as I'm sure everybody else out there is in it for the distributions as well. So let's just go ahead and tack on those distributions to this chart. And we can do that by simply going up here. We'll click that and we'll go to price with the dividend, right? So we can, right now we're just looking at that price, but we can add that dividend into it just by clicking this, and you'll see it will show that price dividend. So that would be the dividend plus the price of the stock, right? Just to make sure you understand, that is the price plus the dividend, and it will throw that line on top of this chart. So that gives us this. Boom, check that out. Well, that definitely shows a little bit better of a play, right? So at the beginning you were at that $20.38 and now you're at the $20.59 with only that 20 cent movement up. Not so great. But with that distribution in here, that distribution plus the price of the stock, you're at roughly a comparative price of $81. So it tacks on those distributions, adds it in, and moves that chart line here accordingly. So now we're looking at a much better chart. This is a little better representation of what and why we are in MSTY. If you're just looking at that price and you're sitting there saying, I've just bought it and the next day it dropped, and I've lost all this money. Well, Not saying that it won't keep on dropping, right? I don't know what it's going to do tomorrow or the next day or the next. It can go up, it can go down, it can stay sideways. I don't know. And I'm not telling you to stay in MSTY. You have to decide if Misty is right for you or not. I'm just showing what I'm looking at and why I am in Misty. And this chart, that red line, shows exactly why I am in Misty. I'm in it for the distributions. So even though we pretty much are right back where we first started, we have moved up a good bit. So now one of the things is, well, what if you purchased it at the high? What if you bought it on November the 20th when it was at that all-time high of $46.50? Well, we can do that on this chart. So let's do it. So I'm going to flip the dividends back off, and we're going to take it to this point right here. And that's on November the 20th. So I can go right here and I can just simply change this date to November the 20th. And now we are looking at this big decline in the price where we're showing it's dropped 53.63%. So you're looking at that, and now you're saying, and there's the price erosion, right? Well, it's definitely dropped since then, right? We have dropped 53%. But again, let's tack on the distributions and let's see if we can at least have broke even, because this is a huge drop. And this does not account for any type of dollar cost averaging in. This does not account for you purchasing more shares at any point. This is a one-time purchase right up front, and you've just sit here and just basically held it without purchasing or selling, and now you have the price of where it's at currently. So what we can do is now tack on those distributions, and let's just see where we would be at. And note, we're at a minus 53%. Over half of it is gone in our capital. But are we really down 53%? Let's tack on this distributions, and there you go. No, we are not. We are still down, but we're only down 7%, almost 8%, right? 8%. That's huge, right? That's huge difference. From a 53% drop to a 7.8% drop, that is a big difference, guys. Now, this could happen on anything that you purchase. If you purchase anything on the high, and as it starts dropping, your account shows that you're losing money. So that can happen on any stock, any ETF, not just Misty, any of them. So I just wanted to show you that with the distributions, even with this huge drop, and you didn't purchase any more throughout, you're just about at a break even. Now, not what you really want to hear. You'd much rather see that, you're up. But gracious, you bought it at the all-time high, and it is back down to about where we started at the very beginning. It's kind of hard to really expect you to be on the positive side of the play. But to only be 7% down, that's a huge difference. Let's also compare this with MSTR, because I hear a lot of people talk that Misty is going to go to zero. You're going to lose all your money in Misty. And I've also heard that if you got into MSTR, you would be up tremendously. And I don't doubt that, right? I'm not doubting that. But I just want to show also why we are in MSTY. And it doesn't hurt to be in MSTR as well, because MSTR could be your price appreciation and MSTY can be your monthly income. So let's just compare the two. Okay, so first let's put it back on the full chart for MSTY, because that's how long Misty has been out. And let's throw MSTR on top of it. And there you go. So as you can see here, we got MSTR just killing it, right? I mean, look at this. Up 425%. And Misty, we're just pretty much flat, right? So huge move up on MSTR. Huge. So yes, you would definitely be up in Mr. more than you would be up in Misty on price for sure. But wait a minute. let's add those distributions in there, and let's see if we can get a little closer to that MSTR move. And there we are. So as you know, MSTR does not pay a distribution or dividend, so it did not change or add another line. It just wrote that line right on top of MSTR because there is no distribution or dividends for Mr. There is only a distribution for Misty here. And as you can see, before we were flat on the price, but then we do those distributions, we're up 282%. Nice. But Mr. still beats Misty. I don't think anybody is stating that Mr. is not outperforming Misty because it doesn't make sense to make that statement. Misty is bound on the upside due to the calls. We are capped on the upside on our call options. So of course we cannot move as quickly high up as Mr. does. That's not the deal here. That's not the question. But one thing to note is Mr. is definitely up 425%. But if you bought both Mr. and Misty on that February the 22nd, today, yes, Mr. would be up 425% and Misty would be up 282%, including the distributions. But do note that in the end, again, owning it from that first day up to now, Mr., you still have just Mr. You have not sold anything, right? Because if you sell off any shares, then that will cut into those gains, right? Because you no longer have that number of shares working for you. And the only way that you can actually make anything off of Mr. to use to pay bills or whatever you're using the money for is to sell the shares. Now, if we're not selling the shares, then yes, you're definitely still up on Mr. And if we're not selling the shares on Misty, yes, we're definitely up on Misty. But keep in mind that on Misty, we earn those distributions, right? Now, what can we do with those distributions? Well, with those distributions, we could buy more Misty and increase the number of shares, therefore increasing this line to get a little closer to MSTR, right? We're not putting more money into it. We're putting the same amount of our own capital into it. But since Misty is paying us, we can roll that right back in if we so choose. And it would help move this line up a little higher. What else could you do with those distributions? You could take that distribution and buy another stock with it. You could buy another ETF. You can buy an ETF on the S&P 500 if you wanted. I use like VOO, and I can take those distributions and I could buy VOO with it. And what does that do for me? Yeah, it doesn't increase my Misty shares, but it does diversify my portfolio. I now would have Misty and VOO, and I've not added any more of my personal money out of my bank account to do so. Now, yes, if I sold shares of Mr., then I could do the same thing, but I'm depleting my shares in Mr. For Misty, I'm not depleting my shares. I'm taking my earnings that they're giving me in the form of a distribution and using that to diversify my portfolio into something else that could also be growing and making money. So now you have two vehicles. You've got Misty and another stock or ETF that you've selected that are both now hopefully making money. Now, nothing's guaranteed, but I don't know about you, I like to be diversified. Because if something did happen and Bitcoin went into a winter and the price drops, be prepared because that also means that Mr. and Misty will drop as well. And we don't know when that's going to happen, but we've all seen it and it could happen. But it could be a while before it does. But it's always nice to diversify your portfolio. So I just wanted to really take the time, compare the two, Misty with Mr., and actually show that we're not losing money. As of today, we're actually making money, right? We've actually made money. If you've owned it from the beginning up until now, you've made a lot of money. Did you make as much as you could have with Mr.? No, you are not. But you could have been using those distributions to diversify your portfolio and therefore making your foundation of your portfolio even stronger rather than having all your eggs in that one basket. I think I'm going to wrap it up right there. I hope this was informative and it was fun to compare the two and just to help others understand why we are in MSTY and also why it's not a bad thing to be into MSTR as well. Both assuming if you believe that Bitcoin will continue to increase. But again, this is not me telling you to buy into anything. Definitely do not buy anything that I am calling out here. Do your own research and decide for yourself what to get into, what not to get into, when to buy and when not to buy. That is your decision as it is your portfolio. So if you don't mind hitting that subscribe button, smash the like button, it'd be much appreciated. And as always, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence before you get into any stock plays. And until next time, legend out.